That's what it sounded like last year at Michigan. Daniel Hemric won the pole, but he's with a different team in 2016. Brad Keselowski Racing. He's coming off a fourth-place finish in the California Clean Power Ford F-150 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It seems like eons ago. It really wasn't, but Daniel Hemric joins us on the guest line now. Daniel, congratulations to the strong start for your season. Saw you were up at Martinsville Speedway last week, kind of barnstorming for that race. How eager are you to get back behind the wheel?
My gosh, it felt like it's been forever, hasn't it? So
yeah.
It's been a good start to the season, but, man, you take all that time off and then try to figure out what to do with your life and how to pass the time. So it was good to be able to go up to Martinsville last week for Media Day and help promote the BKR Truck Series, and hopefully we can get up there and have a good showing. I know all my guys and everybody at the shop, everybody's working for one goal, and that's to figure out a way to go and win races, and decide to have another shot at it this coming weekend.
Later on in the show in our on-off track with Woody's going to talk about a little scheduling snafu with the Truck Series that I think you would agree with. But we've run two races with completely different tracks in the first three. We go to Daytona, Atlanta, and then Martinsville. But you have run two races, sitting second in points. Does it excite you early on, or does it make you nervous, or you just kind of blow it out because we've only run two races?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's cool for, keeping everybody motivated at the shop. But at the end of the day, it's kind of irrelevant at the time, especially with our new format and everything that's been implemented in 2016. So, like I said, it's all fine and good. But like I said, our goal is to win races and put ourselves in a position to contend for a championship. And in order to do that, we gotta run solid week in and week out, and all that other stuff take care of itself.
So I know you guys love to be busy, love to be behind the wheel as much as humanly possible. When you hit a spell like this, what do you do to keep yourself busy, keep yourself from going nuts?
Well, at this point in my life, I have a lot going on, to be honest with you. It's, my fiance and I got engaged last year. Our wedding's this coming January, so we had a little bit of time to do some wedding planning, and she's also got a super late model ride, actually, for a team I used to race for out of Georgia.
Yeah, I saw that.
Late model rank. So,
congratulations to Kenzie. That's cool.
I appreciate it. It's a pretty cool deal for her. So, we've stayed busy kind of helping them prepare their cars. And she ran in South Alabama about 2 weeks ago, and they have another race coming up the week after we run Martinsville. So there's plenty of stuff to keep myself and her busy, and we've enjoyed our time, but there's only so much you can do to keep your mind off of what your job is. I'm ready to go back to work.
Yeah. All right, well, fun's over. Wedding planning will continue on in the background, but now we have to go to Martinsville. And one of the things you can look back on is you've been there, I believe, at least 3 times in the Truck Series. Last year you ran twice, finishing 12th both times, I gather. What did you need extra, and what are you and Chad talking about making something better to work Martinsville? Because you're hopping in a truck that not only sat on the pole but also won the race.
Yeah, so no pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no pressure, right? No, I'll tell you what, I've never been so excited to get to Martinsville. Obviously I was able to make my series debut there a couple of years ago, and it's always struggled to keep the longevity and keep the tires under it with what I've drove there in the past. So I know Chad and everybody at Brad Keselowski Racing has really good baseline on what we can do to help our Ford F-150. And we've looked at the weather, and obviously, I'm not sure anybody's talked about it yet over the last day or two, but the weather don't look great. So we may have to fall back on those notes, and that's something we're 100% prepared to do. I know I got all the faith in the world in all my guys, and I know they feel the same way. So worst case, we'll unload what they had all the success with, spring of last year and go to work.
Now, give us an idea. I know you don't want to start down the road of rain. Usually when Joey shows up, everything's fine. It's all about the fog when he shows up, and that kind of holds true in here as well. But the relationship so far between you and Chad, you and the team, you and your spotter, to get things right here, jumping into a new team. You've got some experience behind the wheel of the truck and at Martinsville, as Joey mentioned. But I think people underestimate how important chemistry is, don't you?
Oh, 100%. I think that's a key factor in why we've had the success we've had, early on this year. Everybody pulls in the same direction, and that's over half the battle is getting everybody going in the right direction, not the right direction, but pulling the same direction constantly. And like I said, I couldn't be more proud of everybody at our shop and for the effort they put forth. And it makes you want to be better and go the extra mile every day when you're not at the racetrack. And it's made me better as a person and a racer, and just ready to get to a stretch where we can actually implement all of our strong suits, and we can all work together week after week. That's what I'm going crazy trying to figure out what to do with the time in between. But I'm just ready to get back to the racetrack and show everybody how strong of an organization Brad Keselowski Racing is, and how we can be a threat week in and week out.
Yeah, not only do you have a new crew chief and a new spotter that docks to you on the roof, but you also have a new teammate with Tyler Reddick and his crew chief, Doug Randolph, and that entire 29 team. Is there a relationship that's being formed with over there? We've had some drivers on that those guys hang out together, and there's some that they compete together. Where do you and Tyler stand?
Yeah, I mean, Tyler and I, we we see each other a couple of days a week at the shop, so we're always communicating. And I think we went and watched a movie or two over the last couple of weeks. His girlfriend, my fiance, and I, and so we definitely spent some time just away from racing. And I think it's going to be a key role. Maybe not as early as it is now, but when we get into the real, the depth of the season, and you're racing week after week, and you're around those guys more and more, it's going to be key to have a solid relationship and really be able to lean on those guys. And I've told many people that Tyler and I, we come from such totally different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, everybody under the roof of our shop, we have the same goal, and that's winning races and performing. And no matter where you come from or how you get there, it's a matter of pulling together once you get that shot. And I think Tyler and I have been able to work together really well. And and that's something I'm sure Joey can attest to as well, is that everybody does, and they legitimately are there for the same goal, and it's just one big team. And that's all you can ask for in a situation like mine, is to have everybody work together like they do. And that chemistry between Doug Randolph and Tyler, it's obviously great, and they've been together for a while. And Chad and I have constantly built on our relationship day after day as well. So I think we're all making strides and going in the right direction. We just got to keep going.
Okay, so back up for just a second, folks. We're talking to Daniel Hemric here, who's driving for Brad Keselowski Racing, second in the points to start the season. But the movie thing, did you guys go see Batman versus Superman? Did you let the girls pick? How'd that work out?
We let the girls pick. It was one of the book series, Divergent, I believe is the name of it. And it got a little crazy for me. I kind of lost track of where I was at. Maybe didn't think about racing too much, but we get to see a lot of good movies as they come out, and that's kind of Kinsey and my thing as well. Whenever we're not racing, you want to pass a couple of hours, we'll find ourselves at the movie, eat some popcorn. But there's only so much of that you can do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
At the airlines, when you get hired on, you become a new pilot or even a new captain. They put you with an experienced pilot to fly around and do what they call initial operating experience. You're now in your second full year in the Truck Series, being last year was your first. Do you show up at these racetracks now a little more confident, or do you still show up and go, what don't I know? Where's the bathroom at? Something simple. When you go to a racetrack, do you have a goal in mind because you've been there again and you can learn a little more?
Oh yeah, guaranteed. I mean, there's obviously those things you experience for the first time that's only the first time. Whether it's getting out of the pit road for the first time, or learning where the bathrooms are, the odd and end stuff. But I'm constantly trying to revisit those tracks before we get there that given weekend, and try to figure out, okay, once we got through practice, what do we struggle with? Where do I need to be better? What did I fight? And try to really look at that stuff and try to own in on what needed to be better. And I think that's something like I said with Brad Keselowski Racing being together for so long, that they have such solid notebooks everywhere we go, that all of us together, we can really start off with a really solid baseline. And so when you get there, you just try to be better than you were there the last time. That's all you can ask for.
Daniel, when we talk with guys in the Xfinity Series or the Truck Series, we always like to ask them, for example, we mentioned Joey Logano won this race a year ago. I saw where Kyle Busch has entered to run the Martinsville race with you guys on Saturday. Are you a guy who wants to race those top Cup guys, or do you feel like they're stealing your thunder?
Oh, I 100% want to race those guys. Those, 40 of some of the best drivers that line up on Sundays. Anytime you got an opportunity to race against them, it's an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to make a name for yourself. So, you make a name of your sport by beating those guys and bettering yourself on any given day and making the most of those opportunities. So, if they're in the race and you got the opportunity to go head-to-head with a guy like Kyle or Joey or Brad or whoever it is that given day, that's an opportunity to do that. And if you play your cards right, it could be a game changer, or it could be something that hurts you. So you got to be mindful of all that stuff that's going on and make the most of it.
I find myself on the roof as a pilot spotter. I'm kind of a minority. You are in a minority situation with your fiancé also being a professional stock car driver. Do you guys compete against each other? And if so, how does that work?
Well, we've competed against each other a good bit, the last couple of years, and not as much here in the last year or so, but we've definitely experienced that. And now we've kind of both gone two different directions as far as racing goes. But she's my biggest fan, supporter when she comes to the racetrack, and I try to play a little bit of the crew chief role and spotter or whatever she calls upon me to be that given weekend at her short track racing. So, it can be intense. It's got its ups and its downs, just like everything else. It's tough enough, the emotion you experience with just your guys at the racetrack, let alone doing it for someone that holds such a special place to you. And, you got to really kind of, I guess you say, tread thin water. That way you make sure you're not on the couch at night. But it makes for a fun aspect of our relationship. It's something that's made us better as a whole. And, it's exciting, man. You go to the racetrack, 1 week together, and you don't know what it holds and how each other's going to, approach the given weekend. And we both learned a lot about each other through racing together and, really growing up doing it together.
Will you get a chance to see her perform in the super late model you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, actually, I was part of, her deal when she raced in South Alabama a couple weeks ago. And, with our break we get after Martinsville until Kansas, she runs Nashville Fairgrounds. So I'll get to go there and be pretty hands-on and help her and, just try to give assistance where needed. And hopefully, I actually won in that car there last year, so hopefully we can go do the same with her.
That's fantastic. Hey, Daniel, who's going to be on the truck with you this week? I know you had California Clean Power at Atlanta.
Yep. Yeah, we have California Clean Power back with us, for, obviously Atlanta and then here at Martinsville. Kansas, we may be revamping the scheme a little bit. I know everybody's a big fan of it, so we may make some small changes and try to keep everybody just as interested in that paint scheme. And then won't be but a couple more races, and we'll have Draw Titan Reese Brands back on board with us. And I mean, that partnership's so cool to have them part of Brad Keselowski Racing and how much they do for us. So it takes the whole deal to make it go around. So we're excited to give these guys, every one of them, a good show.
Absolutely. Fantastic. The bills keep getting paid. Well, listen, congratulations on a strong start to the season. Your engagement and Kenzie's back behind the wheel. Everything's headed in the right direction. Look forward to catching up with you at Martinsville this weekend.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate you having me on. We'll see you soon.
Be easy on. Take care on your spotter. Be easy.
Okay.
Hey, I'll try, buddy.
Yeah, light him up for me. Please do that. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate your time, man.